morning, grade 2.
Good morning, grade 2. I wish that you are fine. Let's start with our science session for today. Today we will take a new part. Okay, we said that last session we started with chapter 4, lesson 1, and it was about living things in their environment. And we started with the first lesson in chapter 4, and it's called What is the Environment? We said environment, living and non-living things in a place. Environment, living and non-living things in a place. Okay, so we said, or I give you examples of the living things in our environment, like plants, animals, people. We have many things that are living in our environment. And also, I told you the non-living things, they are like air, water, soil, and rocks. And all of them must be natural because they are made by nature, made by God, Allah. Okay, so environment, living and non-living things in a place. Environment, living and non-living things in a place. We said the environment can be hot or cold, wet or dry. It's changing, and we are changing according to the environment. The environment can be hot or cold, wet or dry. Hot or cold, wet or dry. One more time. Environment, living and non-living things in a place. Environment, living and non-living things in a place. The environment can be hot or cold, wet or dry. Hot or cold, wet or dry. The next point that we discussed it together last session, we have spoken about a habitat. And I told you a habitat is a place to live. What should the animal or the living thing find in this habitat? He should find what he needs from food, from water, and shelter. So habitat is a place where living things find food, shelter, and water. Food, shelter, and water. So what is the habitat? It's a place where living things find or have food, water, and shelter. They must find all the things that they need, because if the living thing missed one of these needs, he will die. Okay, we will not find it, or he will look for another habitat to live in. Okay, so habitat, place to live. Habitat, place to live. Habitat, place to live. What should we find in the habitat? We should find food, water, and shelter. Food, water, and shelter. Food, water, and shelter. So habitat, it's a place where living things have food, water, and shelter. Food, water, and shelter. So we said environment, living and non-living things in a place. Environment, living and non-living things in a place. The environment can be hot or cold, wet or dry. We spoke about habitat. What is a habitat? A habitat is a place where living things live, and they must find food, water, and shelter. Food, water, and shelter. Food, water, and shelter. Okay. There is something else that we discussed last session. We said in the forest, and the forest is a place where we have many trees, and many trees grow in the forest. And the forest is a habitat for many animals, okay? Because the forest is full of trees, it's full of water, like in the shape of ponds or streams. So we can find many things that the animals need in the forest. So the forest, as you can see, it has a pond, okay? And the pond is a habitat for fish. And also we can find trees, and the trees is a habitat for birds or for monkeys or for owls. So the forest is full of animals, and because the animals can find what they need in the forest from food, water, and shelter. Okay, this is what we discussed last session, and this is where we stopped last session. Let's start with the new part for today. Here we are still in the same lesson, but we didn't cover this part last session. How do people change the environment, the natural environment that's provided to us by Allah? How can the people change it? Can they change it? Can they change the natural things that Allah made it for us? Yes. Let's see, how do people change the environment? People may cut down trees to build houses, and it's very popular nowadays that we said that the trees, they are living things and they are part of our environment because they are natural. Okay, so people, they want to make use of the space that the trees have, so they start to cut down trees to build houses. They want to cut down the trees to build houses. I want to cut down all of these trees because I want to build or to have my own home or to build my own house. Is it right? Is it good for the environment? Is it good for the animals? Is it good for you? Of course not. Because the trees, as we said, it's like a house or a shelter for many animals. And the trees, we get food from the trees, not only the animals. We get food. We get plants from the trees. So if you start to cut down the trees, what will happen? All the living things will be affected by cutting down trees. So it's very dangerous. So people must think about what they are doing before they do it, because they don't know what will we face later. All the animals, most of the animals will die if you start to cut down all the trees. Okay, because they will not find a habitat to live, they will not find a good food, they will not find a place or a shelter to live. So they will die, they will escape from this place, and they will not find a good place for them to live. So we have nowadays laws, okay, that are set by the government all over the world to stop people from cutting down trees, because you are harming the environment, and this affects the environment badly. Okay, it affects the animals, it affects the plants themselves, and also it affects the humans. It affects you. You need the plants, you need these trees, because the trees or the plants, they take in dangerous like the carbon dioxide and give us oxygen. So it protects you. How can you cut it? Are you cutting it because you want to build a house? You don't think about what will happen later? So this is the first thing, that people cut down trees to build houses. Here is giving you an example of how can people change the environment in a bad way. It's happened in Florida, okay. People brought water hyacinth. What is a water hyacinth? This is a water hyacinth. It's a kind of a flower or a plant. And the water hyacinth grew very quickly, okay, and it grew near the water, okay. That's why it's called water hyacinth, because it needs too much water to grow, okay, and it grows so fast. So they brought this seed for the water hyacinth, and they start to grow it. This water hyacinth or this plant grew quickly and faster, okay, and it shut out the air and light, and fish died, because as you can see, it covered the surface of the water very, very fast. It grows so fast. And we have living things that live in this pond or in this water. What will happen to them? What will happen to the fish? What will happen to all the living things that live in this water? They died. The fish died because they were not able to breathe. They couldn't see the light. All the needs that they want, they cannot find it because of this plant. So look, a very simple thing that a human did it, how did it affect the humans, or it affected the animals and the plants that live in the water? They died. The fish died because it shut out the air and light. So the fish died. So people cut down trees to build houses, and this is very dangerous. And the second thing is that they grew water hyacinths. And what did the water hyacinths do? The water hyacinths, it's a kind of plant that grows so fast. It covered the surface of the water. And when it covered the surface of the water, as you can see in this picture, it shut out the air and the light, and the fish that live in this pond or this water died. Is it true? Is it good for the environment? Is it good for you? Is it good for your health? No. So there are laws that are punishing these people who are harming the environment. The last thing that we want to speak about is the word adapt, or the verb adapt. What's the meaning of adapt? Adapt means to change, to be able to live in their environment, to adjust themselves to the environment. How can I survive in the environment? Like here we have the fish, they have gills to take oxygen from the water. So now they are adapting. They want to survive. They want to be comfortable with their atmosphere and with the environment that they live in. So they have gills to take oxygen. The same here for the otter. It has fur. Why does the otter have fur? Because the otter live in very snowy areas, okay, and it keeps it warm. Okay, so the otter has fur to keep it warm. So the last thing that we want to speak about is the meaning of, or this verb is adapt. Adapt means to be able to live, to survive. Adapt to survive. Adapt to survive. To change, to be able to live. Okay, we are changing to be able to live. Like in cold weather, how can you adapt yourself to the cold weather? Can you change the weather by yourself? Of course not. But we should adapt ourselves to the weather by wearing warm clothes or dark clothes or heavy clothes to keep you warm, because you want to survive. You want to stay alive. Okay, even in hot weather, what are you doing? How can you adapt yourself to the hot weather? Will you change the atmosphere by yourself or the climate that's made by nature? Of course not. You are wearing light clothes. You turn on the fan, you turn on the AC because you want to live. You are changing to survive in your environment. You are going to take a shower, swimming. You want to survive. So adapt means change to live. Change to live. One more time. Adapt means change to live. Change to live. Change to live. Change to live. Okay, grade 2. Let's revise what we have covered today. We have spoken about how can people change the environment. We said that people are harming the environment by cutting down trees. And when they brought water hyacinths, this water hyacinths grew so fast and it shut out the light and the air from, or shut out the air and the light, and the fish that live in the water died because they were not able to breathe and they were not able to get the light that they need. The last thing is that I want you to know for today is the word adapt. Adapt means change to live. Change to live. One more time. Adapt, change to live. Change to live. Change to live. One more time. Adapt, 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 adapt. Change to live. You must adjust yourself to your environment to be able to live, to survive. Okay, and remember winter and wearing heavy clothes, and summer we are wearing light clothes. Why do we do this? Because we need to change according to the environment to survive. Here we said fish have gills. Why do the fish have gills? To take oxygen from the water. The odor. Why does the odor have fur? To keep it warm. Okay. And this was the end of the first lesson in chapter 4. I wish that you understood it. If you don't understand it, I want you to replay the video from the beginning and to repeat the meaning of the word more than one time to memorize it. Thanks for watching and see you later. Bye, grade 2.